Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video I will teach you how to make a shirt. So without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, I used a layer while passing. The purpose of that is to prevent the placket from being uneven. If you also want to learn to make different patterns, you can also visit my channel. And if you think that my tutorials here are helpful, you can also subscribe, like and share. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, so you're always updated every time I upload a new video. Okay, we are about to finish making the placket. We are done with the placket. Next, clean it and check if the stitching is good. Next is the other side of the front part. The process is the same. Next is the back part. Put pencil marks on the tucks before sewing it. Make sure the seam runs smoothly and isn't kinked so it looks polished. Just watch until the end, because you will learn many more techniques in this video. And the same on the other tucks. Mark with a pencil so it doesn't look dirty and then sew. Now the tucks are done. Next, add the back yokes. I don't know if that is the correct name for that cut back. As you can see, make sure the center of the back is opposite, and get used to being in the center. Always start, to avoid inequality. To cover the seam, it is necessary to stretch the back a bit while sewing, to prevent it from undulating at the joint. And the same on the other side. Also needs to be supported while sewing. If you notice in the video, you can see how I hold the fabric while sewing. Okay, we are done with joining the back. Okay, let's go to joining the shoulders front and back. You can sew the initial stitching for the beginners. That's my technique so I don't get in trouble. Just always practice the techniques I teach here, so you can learn from polish work. Okay, the next thing to do is just fold the back after placing him inside the two yokes, and then sew the shoulders together. Be careful not to tuck the back parts inside the yokes, because it's just a source of trouble. That's why I always advise beginners to always be careful. Okay, let's finish with the shoulder joint. Don't forget to remove the initial stitching. Check if everything is clean, and when it is clean, you can now reverse it, just slowly pulling the back inside the yokes. Make sure the seams are neat, before the ends of the shoulders are clean and flat. This is an initial stitch shown for beginners, so that you don't have difficulty putting on your sleeves. And the same on the other shoulder in the same way. Align the armhole and place center. Put a mark in the center of the collar, and check if the size of the neck and the collar are the same. If necessary, ray cuts for the neckline, do so that it is not difficult to attach the collar. Take care of the cut, and it needs to be even. If you cut it so that it does not match size of the collar, you will only have problems. Next, let's move to make the plackets of the sleeves. Then fix the sleeve placket. Make sure it's neat before sewing. The first stitch is 1 centimeter from the placket itself. The next stitch is the one I drew myself with a pencil. The stitching must be even to avoid the ugly placket. Then cut the existing fabric and leave at least 1 inch, and split down the middle, and slashing every corner. Rub and fold the bottom of the placket. Make sure the small placket is folded properly. Then sew it, and if you want to prevent it from waving, use a lining while sewing, after flipping the placket to the right side. Make sure the corner of your slashing is done properly, because in the long run it will break. Now we have finished sewing the bottom placket. Just follow the video while I sew the edge of the placket. Use padding if possible to avoid unevenness. If you notice how I take good care of it to keep the placket right, it's better to be meticulous in what we do so that our customers will love us and they come back to us because they like what we do. So I would like to share that with you because that is my experience for a long time. Okay, we are done making the placket. Now let's move to making the cuffs. As you can see, the cuffs already have fusible cloth. I didn't show it in the video, because I know you know how to do that. Okay guys, just follow along and watch us make the cuffs. And next, we can make now the collar. After applying fusible cloth, stitch it. But when it comes to the point of the collar, put the trap thread so it can be easily reversed. Then twisting the trap thread. And take a good look at the trap thread lest it get stuck in the seam. And stitch it through to the other end. And put a trap thread again. Reduce the seam allowance if it is a bit wide. Let's reverse the collar. And pass the edge stitch around the collar again. Rub more curve the made collar for better results. And put a besting to support the collar to be maintained. It is curved before assembling it. As you can see, the results are good and he is still in curve, and then stitching to line of seam allowance. And cut the existing fabric and leave a seam allowance to clean the collar. Then fold the collar and put the center cut. The same goes for the standing collar. Put the center cut. Should always start in the middle for even stroke of the seam. The same on the other side. The cutting that is attached to the standing collar is the outside part that does not have a fuse. Next, attach the standing collar with fusible. If you want to imitate that method, watch carefully. If you notice where I start from the beginning, I will also start from the other side. Its purpose is to whip it to form a circular collar. You will find many techniques there. Look at my middle finger. That's the purpose too. Here as I make the collar, just watch it again and again. You will learn a lot there. This is what you should study carefully because the collar is the main part of the shirt. So everything you notice on my fingers means something. Watch carefully. That has a purpose so that the one below does not exceed the standing collar on top. Then cut and clean the collar. Slashing the joint also helps to allow the collar to move properly. Reduce the excess fabric and leave a moderate seam allowance. Then fold it and put the center to be sure. Now it's time to attach the collar to the body. As you can see, I passed the stitching in the center. and then I start to sew the end of the placket. Use a pin if you are just a beginner. Then slashing the seam allowance so that you will sew straight. Make sure it's smooth before going through the seam. Add more slashing if needed. Now we will move to the other end of the collar. Like what I've said in the beginning, you can use a pin if needed. Do the same way, but also put slashing. Now we are almost done making the collar. It's time to put a top stitch. We're feeling pretty and relaxed when the collar is almost finished. Don't worry guys, we're almost done by making a shirt. Just finish this video because we will add sleeves. Okay, we're done now for the collar. Now we are here to attach the sleeves and armhole. First you need to stitch like that for sharing. Just rub it a little to make it round so that it can be properly attached to the armhole. Okay, let me watch how to attach a sleeve. The purpose of using the layer is to maintain the order of the sleeve and armhole. If you follow that method, you will be surprised at the result, because usually master tailors use it. When you get used to using a part, it seems normal in the long run. Now we're done with the sleeves. Make sure the armhole joint is even. Now we're going to the side close. Here on the side close, there are many ways to do it. You already know what it means. Then after side close, so again on the overlocked edging. Now here's the cuffs of the sleeves we need to clean a little bit. Now let's attach the cuffs to the sleeve. Need to be careful. When attaching and sewing, make sure the cuff and sleeve are equal, so that no one overhangs the cuff or the sleeve to cause inconvenience. Before I forget, just a reminder, when attaching the cuff, start sewing on the wrong side of the sleeve after turning the cuff over the sleeve. Next, let's do top stitching on the cuff, but before that, we need to hide the dangling fluffy seam allowances. Okay guys, we are almost done. Here we are at the hem of the shirt. We just need to trim a little. Now let's fold the hem of the shirt. It's up to you how you fold the hem. There are many ways to fold the hem. Okay guys, we are done with the hemming. Thank you very much and accompany me until the end. Bye for now and see you in the next video.